And I think this is the first year we've had every Republican, every statewide elected official is a Republican. That's the first time in Louisiana history we've had that. So, we have to earn that trust. So we've got to present things in a way where the people can um, can see that we're dealing with them squarely and plainly, and that there's no hidden language or hidden agenda or small print. And I think if we do that, then I think the public will embrace what we're trying to do. But
I got to jump in, Mike, because I completely disagree with you. Y'all did not lose the trust of the public. Y'all are the freshman class. Y'all are new. The people who jacked up the state constitution over the course of the last 50 years, they're the ones that lost the trust because you have the title state representative. You're taking on that responsibility, and I appreciate it. But you didn't do this. Emily Chenevert didn't do this. Roger Wilder didn't do this. The newbies in the state legislature did not do this. The ones who jacked up the Constitution for 50 years were arguing against constitutional amendment number 2. The ones who lost the trust were the ones who were actually trying to shoot down what y'all were doing. That's why it made for such an uphill battle.
We've had a legacy of distrust that that should have been appreciated in our presentation.
Fair.
But the proposals we did were fine, but there was clearly a tone deafness in the way it was handled. And look, people have a right to be suspicious of our state government. Look at how many statewide officials we've had go to jail. I mean,
yeah, they all wrote that Constitution back in '74 too.
Right. So if we show up with something that does 50 different things in one sentence on the ballot, people are going to be rightfully suspicious. We need to do a better job presenting this to the public and recognize the reality that, hey, Louisiana has a past. We need to be mindful of that when we're presenting, very complicated proposals to the public. And, I knew real quick, a little anecdote, and I pushed amendment number 2 very hard. And I think Julie Emerson did a fantastic job working so hard for that. And, I think it's a shame it didn't work out because Julie is really one of our great leaders in the legislature. But I knew we were doomed on this one anecdote. So we had the Crawfish Fest in St. Bernard, and someone came up to me and talking about the amendments, and one of my colleagues just happened to be there, and we're going back and forth. And finally, after 5 minutes of me explaining it, said, you know what? You're right. You changed my mind. I am going to vote for amendment number 2. Well, my colleague sitting there with a smile said, oh, man, you see that? We changed our mind. I said, yeah, it took me 5 minutes of one-on-one conversation to sell it. I can't do that with 400,000 Louisiana voters within the next week and a half.
Yeah, no.
The distrust is there. We have to recognize it, and we need to build our messaging and our style and our crafting of the proposals around that cynicism. We don't have to like it, but we do have to recognize it.
I know. I'm over here trying to have your back because you didn't do it.
Look, I'm not saying what we did was bad. I'm just saying that the policy was good, but the politics was not so good, and we need to be as cognizant about the politics as we are the politics.